I'm Sujantra McKeever with Pilgrimage of the Heart Yoga, and I'm here today with Heather Fenwick. Greetings, Heather.
Hi, thank you.
Heather is one of the teachers on our online studio, and actually one of the first teachers to teach at Pilgrimage of the Heart. So Heather is one of our senior teachers here at our studio in San Diego.
Yep, from back in the day.
Long, long time ago. So Heather, what is it that first brought you to yoga, and how long ago did you start practicing?
I started practicing in 2001, and I'd say I've always been a bit of a seeker ever since I was a little girl. And there wasn't any yoga on the East Coast when I was growing up, so when I moved out to San Diego 13 years ago and tried my first yoga class, it was the thing that put me on the path to all of the answers that I had been looking for.
And what were you specifically looking for that you turned to yoga for?
Just the big questions, like what are we doing here? What's our purpose in life? How can we really be happy? Things like that.
And how long of your own personal practice and learning and growth before you started to teach others?
I did my first teacher training in 2005. So it was about 4 or 5 years of a practice, and then the teacher training, and then I started teaching the next year while I was traveling.
And for all these years I've known you, you've been teaching, and you seem to love teaching, you're enthusiastic, the students love you. What is it that you love about teaching?
For sure I love teaching. Sometimes it's the best part of my day, and that's my job, so that's pretty cool. Well, aside from people walking in and having maybe a stressful day or a really routine day and walking out just feeling really alive and nourished and bright, but beyond that, knowing that they're going to take that energy out into the world around them. And I truly do think that yoga is changing the world bit by bit, so it's pretty inspiring.
And that's definitely the yoga philosophy, that the world is made up of all of us in it, our collective consciousness, and as we raise and expand our own awareness, that ripples out and affects everyone.
Yeah.
One of the things I find in my own practice is I love to teach. I primarily teach the meditation here. And my own practice, my own yoga practice, usually involves some pranayama, some meditation, and some gentle asana. And the difference, how I feel between before I practice and after I practice, is always amazing. And I know so many people come here to the studio, they're excited, enthusiastic about learning yoga, and yet it's really hard to develop the regular practice. Mm-hmm. And so you see a lot of new students. What do you recommend for people who are just embarking on the journey of yoga? What do you recommend to them to really solidify and make it a regular part of their lives?
For sure, it's a challenge because people these days are busy and it's hard to fit another activity into your day. So first off, I would say to go to the right class. Go to one that you'll enjoy. It doesn't have to be a hot, flowing level 2. It can be a really gentle or a level 1. And then just show up on your mat. You know, these online practices are great if you don't have a full hour to get to the yoga studio. Roll out your mat for 20 minutes or 10 minutes. And any little practice with consistency is better than no practice at all, or 1 hour every 2 weeks. You know, it's just better a little bit at a time starts to really accumulate, and you'll notice a difference.
I'm amazed, even what 5 minutes can do. Mm-hmm. 5 minutes of some asana or some breath work.
For sure.
You also have been to India.
Yeah.
You've been to India a number of times, and why do you like to go to India? Which is, of course, the ancient roots of yoga. Take us back to India.
Yeah.
And you've actually taken people to India.
Yeah, I lead yoga retreats to India, and that's really gratifying as well. India, I went right after my first teacher training. And all of these concepts that I had learned about equanimity and santosha, the cultivation of contentment, no matter what your external circumstances are, all of these things became really solidified in pretty much every single moment on that trip. I was there by myself for about 8 months, and I really learned to let go of planning, let go of expectations. That was huge. And then I saw that the less comforts that I had, it seemed the happier I was. So I feel like a lot of life lessons, yoga lessons, really started to hit home for me. That's what I try to show people when we go there too.
For me, going to India is like going to the ancient roots of all of the yoga, and it's always inspiring for me to see people in that culture, one who have learned to find that balance between the materialism and the yoga, but also people who have immersed themselves in the spiritual journey. The yogis and the sadhus that you see along the Ganges and people whose lives are just 100% focused on that inner journey.
Yeah, and I find that the culture itself, there's no question of spirituality and its importance in your life. People go to the temple not because they have to, but because they want to. And every day, just because they want to stay connected to this divine force. It's pretty inspiring stuff.
And you mentioned Santosha, one of the principles of yoga. And you as a yoga teacher, I know you like to incorporate some of the basic philosophical, ethical principles of yoga into your classes.
Sure.
And what are some of those, and what would you like to talk about in your classes?
Oh, there's an 8-limbed path of yoga. Asana, the physical postures, just one limb. It's the 3rd step. So it's actually a little bit of a baby step on the way that prepares us for the breathing exercises and then the meditative aspects of the practice. So I like to remind people that the asana is huge, and there's no doubt that we need that physical movement to clear any stagnation in the body. But the purpose of it is really to get calm here so that we can let light in and then shine light out.
Well, Heather, you're a great yoga teacher, and we're lucky to have you.
Thanks, Sujandra.
Here in San Diego, and all of the people watching are lucky to have you as an online teacher.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Namaste.
Namaste.